I don't know how many of you heard about this. I think we briefly spoke about it last night in the group chat, but the Azerbaijan Airlines crash on Christmas Day, very, very sad. This is a picture of the plane in half on the ground, obviously, as evidence collection and rescue is on the way. Um, so this happened, on Christmas Day. Over half of the plane survived. So there were about 72 people on the flight. 38 of them died. I think 32 more were rescued. And it was really, really very scary. I wanna show you, this video, and I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. See, I think it's just a slide. So maybe I will find another way to show you that video. But basically, what I could read, and a lot of it's unknown right now, but from what I could read, it was a flight from Baku to Grozny, and they attempted to land 2 times in Grozny and were unable to do so. At some point, there are reports that there was an explosion outside of the plane, and the plane was hit, by something. And, that's what started so the gas ma I'm gonna show you guys all of these videos. The gas masks fell down. There are holes in the plane, which doesn't make sense if it was a technical malfunction. So then, upon a third, attempt after the plane's been hit, on a third attempt to land, it's forced because it's been hit, it's been forced to crash, and it crashed in Kazakhstan. Now, the plane was miles off course. There were some, things that I did a lot of research on last night, like super rabbit hole, so I don't know what's real and what's not at this point, but it's for sure the plane was off course, um, it seems to be because there was really bad weather, and they were, hundreds of miles off course though, so it was weird. And then, there's this story that it because they were flying over Russia and Russia had the drone strike from Ukraine, that they're, like, super hyper aware of they had an emergency and they had, the closest airport that sorry, guys, I'm trying my best here. The closest airport in Russia to the plane at that time was closed because of the airstrike emergency from Ukraine. So it's curious as to why they were going that way, and so people say that Russia's anti-aircraft defense system shot it down. Russia is vehemently denying this, that's saying that it's not true, and that, until a thorough investigation has been completed, not to spread rumors. Um Kinda seems from the evidence that it is true, based on the damage to the plane, and how could that have happened otherwise? So, I wanna try to show you guys some of these videos, but I'm gonna need a second to pull that up. So, if you guys wanna talk about your initial reactions to this, horrible tragedy, and by the way, viewer discretion advised. I mean, not that you could see anything bad, but you do one of the videos I have, the plane does explode, so,
Mm.
it made me very emotional and sad last night. I know I'm a girl, haha, but, it's really, hard to watch for me, so just viewer discretion for the videos we pull up later, but you guys, your first thoughts.
So just real quick, it left from where it got shot down over where, and where was it intended to go?
So it was flying from Baku to Grozny, and, it was hundreds of miles off course because of bad weather, supposedly. It's one of the most prominent theories that is out there on the internet right now,
Mhm.
and, they were flying over airspace in Russia where a lot of airports were closed because of a emergency, from Ukraine missiles. Um,
Mm.
so those airports were closed due to that emergency in Russia because they're afraid of more Ukraine drone attacks. Um,
Yeah,
so
I believe it was pushed out over the Caspian Sea is where it ended up because Grozny's in Chechnya, which,
Mhm.
Russian controlled,
Yep.
and there was heavy fog is what they're saying. According to the main narrative right now, uh, it was a bird strike. They got hit by a flock of
Wait
birds.
till I show you this. There's no way there's a
Well,
freaking bird did
birds
this.
birds
No
can ground a
way.
plane, but they've never punched a hole in a fuselage. Like,
Bro,
Yeah.
wait,
what's here?
okay, keep going.
And they're saying that because of the heavy fog, they weren't able to land. They were then rerouted over the Caspian Sea, which put them right through the area where Ukraine has been launching strikes into Russian territory recently with, weapons that we paid for and gave them, but that's a whole other problem. So everything's been closed off. They got over Kazakhstan, and then suddenly the plane crashed. So they flew through airspace that Russia has closed.
Right.
It's entirely possible that in the foggy conditions, the Russian air defense, which was already on high.
Man, they almost had a clean landing.
I know, that's what's so sad about it. Brandon, that's literally why I started crying last night, because I'm like, I mean, they're coming way too hot, first of all, but when they hit the ground, that's obviously when it explodes. It splits in half and it rolls. So you saw in the first photo that I had this, like, that's the end of the plane, and that's where everybody survives.
32 people in the tail section survived. A lot of them are
Really?
condition, but everyone seated towards the back seems to have been, obviously not unharmed, but that's where people made it out. Everyone towards the front.
Wow.
And you can tell, like, they still had control of the plane because it looked like they were trying to bring it in for.
Pilot must. I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna do this. You in one of the videos, you can hear them like telling everybody to stay calm, blah blah blah, and
You know if they
like,
dumped the fuel?
almost made it, huh?
Do you know if they dumped the fuel?
I don't know. The black box has been recovered, but obviously because it's happened yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess, depending on time zones, they haven't. A lot of details aren't out yet. It's just what we see on social media, and I've got more of that to show you as well. So there is this video that I wanna. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just, it's the fog of war in that it's all the information's early, but it's wild that some outlets are reporting it was a flock of birds. Others are ostensibly blaming, I don't know, third parties. Others, where am I in here? Associated, Reuters is blaming, has concluded Russia down.
Yep.
I'm skeptical of the immediate reflex to blame Russia, which causes me to think it might have been third parties who might have thought it was Russian or something. The bird explanation is plausible, I guess, in a sense. It's happened before, but why it was so far off?
Let me show you.
The fact that it was so far off its intended line, and that could have confused.
Look right here. Look at the zoom in. A bird did not make that hole in the plane. You see that?
Wait, but if you have video from the plane.
Because the plane was still flying. They got hit. All the gas masks in ground. And there's people in the front you could see standing.
No, but I mean, how did they recover the video after the crash?
Because these people survived in the back. This guy, I'm gonna show you this video right now. This guy filmed a video praying, and supposedly it was for his wife, but in this video I just hear him praying.
وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن لا الله أكبر الله.
And he keeps praying.
That was like me and Humberto the other day on our flight.
Oh my God. See all those people standing? So they're still in the air afterwards, right? And now this is him. This is the same man after the plane crashed. Pulling up the video. Here we go.
الله أكبر.
Imagine how lucky you feel.
Well,
Dude,
I love. Has everyone seen the movie Fearless with Bridges, Jeff Bridges?
No.
Oh,
No.
My goodness, you youngins, you have to go watch it. It's a classic. It's a great movie. But this is the randomness
bullet
of,
holes.
well, or shrapnel, like air defense. So what do they call it? The stuff that goes up and just. But who knows? Maybe when it rolls. But he said that guy prayed and he survived, and I'm sure there are people on the front of the plane who prayed and died, and one's gonna come away with the conclusion that some form of a god exists, and the ones in the front, come to a different conclusion. That definitely looks like anti-aircraft shrapnel.
Yeah.
So there's a video, which I don't think I have here, but there's a video inside the plane in the tail end where they're still in the air and they've been hit, and there's a hole in the plane. I think I have a photo of it. There's a hole, like there's already a hole there. So they haven't crashed yet because I think some people were saying, oh, the crash could cause like, but this, and if you could see, like it's in, right? It doesn't come out. So
Right.
I'll
That
play
is
this
okay.
on silent, but this is some of the damage to the plane that was taken after it crashed. So I was curious, once you see this, what do you guys think?
I think either Russia did it or somebody who wanted to make it look like Russia did something.
Look, keep looking.
Yeah.
Is that normal after a crash?
No, those look like weapons.
You see big parts sheared off of it if it was just because of the crash, but
That's what I thought.
literal pitting like that, no, that's. And of course, I'm no expert on aircraft demolition and
I have a
anti-aircraft, but
I have a theory, but I don't want to say it on the show because I'm the only non-pilot from my
What's
family and
up?
watch the show. So whatever I say now is gonna be used against me. But the thing is, when you hit things fast enough, like anything could look like shrapnel. It could be like rocks when they hit the ground. It could be birds. If you find any videos, like some birds had devastating effects on planes. Like when you're going, like
But
800
the
miles.
bird gonna do what you just saw.
I don't know. Like
Yeah, I think they'd splatter instead of piercing a hole through steel.
That definitely. I mean, I'm trying to look up what type of anti-aircraft defense technology exists. But I mean, it looks like shards of metal sprayed up to try to take down something that's
Yeah.
flying. And
To block.
and-
So apparently there was like a drone attack, and so that's why a lot of airports were closed, and that's why they were under emergency. And they apparently, allegedly, they shot this plane, with anti-aircraft for those. They thought it was gonna be like a drone attack.
Hell, maybe it was a drone that did something to it.
yeah, it sounds like a drone because like it's the same size as a bird. It will like if you hit it, there will be shrapnel if it's big enough. So
Are you
I don't-
trained
I-
drones?
Maybe
they're flying.
because it
So
could be
it's gonna
Either
be
different.
Brandon.
Could be somebody trying to make it look like Russia did something to put turn the narrative against Russia or turn public sentiment against Russia, or it could be Russia's reacting quickly to try to defend its airspace.
it could be completely by accident if this was it getting shot down because it looks like because of weather they got rerouted into what is
War zone.
to become an active war zone now that Ukraine is launching strikes at Russia, and there's always the possibility that either side targeted what they thought was an enemy military plane, enemy drone, incoming missile, whatever, and accidentally hit a civilian aircraft. But there's no reason. It's hard to see the incentive to if we target an Azerbaijani airline, we can convince Azerbaijan to get involved in the war. Like it doesn't look like some sort of false flag operation. It just sort of seems like if this was a deliberate thing, it was mistaken identity.
And because they got hit, like communications were down, which is why they had a hard time landing. Like the videos are.
That was the other thing. Their communication and navigation systems were jammed while they were, but that much we know already. There seemed to be some kind of interference on their systems as they were flying over. So clearly somebody was messing with them a little bit at least.
Well,
If
so
it- if it-
confirmed that
it
that
will-
went out before while they were flying or before they got hit by whatever it was, bird, anti-aircraft, whatever. Because I read, again, super dark rabbit hole, but I read that the communications went out after they got the explosion outside of the plane.
Mm.
And this video is them trying to land like 2 times. They're circling, and then that's eventually when they crash. And I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know about the fuel dump. I just know that they can't really communicate. Yeah. It's really, really sad. It happened on Christmas Day. Half the plane died. I feel so bad for the pilot because I think maybe you'll make it, when you try that kind of landing, but it's really scary. Anyway, I was gonna do something way cooler Today I was gonna do the Notre Dame fires and the discovery of the 2 bodies and, like, what they realized who they realized that they were, but instead, Vinny was like, "We gotta talk about this and, like, the consequences of it. If it does turn out to be Russia or if it is Ukraine's fault because it was one of their drones, like, what does that change? Is that were you saying that it would, try to incentivize Azerbaijan to be involved in the war, or was that
No, I'm saying quite the opposite. Like of all the people you might target with the false flag operation to try to get them involved in one side of the conflict or the other, Azerbaijan doesn't really seem like it's that high on the list. Like it's
so
it
it
is
was an
a enough area. Yeah. So I don't think this is from or we're trying to frame, one actor or the other for blowing this up. I think and you know what? It's entirely possible that we're reading this wrong. They got turned around because of fog. They flew off course to the nearest available airport, hit a flock of birds in the clouds, and that was the end of that plane. And everything else just played out as we, have been told so far. The communication system was damaged after, the explosion, whatever. But if there was another explanation for it, I think it's most likely one side or the other misidentified it as an enemy aircraft and either sent up a drone, sent up an air defense system missile, and blew it up by mistake. And maybe we might not ever know about that because it's not like these two sides are particularly forthcoming about.
I think the Kremlin would hopefully say it was an accident if it was them, or same vice versa, Ukraine or something else. Because I think it's important to know if anybody's ever gonna fly there again. Like, I'm never flying there now. I'm gonna die. And,
Are you planning on going to Chechnya and Kazakhstan anytime
I
soon?
would like to go to Russia. My family's from Russia, so I'd like to go there someday.
I was just Googling as you're talking, and I came across an article from Harvard University Davis Center for Russian and Eurasian Studies from April 2024, and it says one winner of Russia's war against Ukraine is Azerbaijan. It does seem like it's far off from the conflict, but it could be. I mean, if it's deliberate sabotage to try to drag a country in or to penalize a country that might be allying itself with different forces. But I presume the black box is going to have some detailed pilot firsthand account of what happened prior to the crash.
Does an investigation into a black box, does that normally take like 30 days, or does that usually take a long time?
If you locate it, then they have to
They found
locate
It
it. Yeah, and then
depends on how politically advantageous the contents of that box might be. Because I'm the 9/11 black boxes for sure. This is questionable information that the black boxes were damaged, but the paper passports survived. But that's a whole other separate
The
problem.
one other kind of worms.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.